A different kind of a Thursday dialogue today, which is what we do whenever we've got some breaking news. And of course, today we're focusing on this devastating situation in the Eastern Cape, the devastating floods that have claimed, I think so far, 49 lives. The Premier of the Eastern Cape, Oscar Mabuyane, has described this as one of the most painful tragedies to hit the province in recent years. And it's just been so devastating. Emergency response teams have been dispatched to various areas, and they're working around the clock to provide critical support to communities that have been impacted. My understanding is that schools have also been affected. Around 6,000 learners have been impacted by the devastating storm. There are about 58 or so schools that have been damaged as well. So what we'll do this hour is speak to the different stakeholders. We're going to start now with the Premier of the Eastern Cape. I'll bring in the other ministers as well. We've got a reporter on the ground as well who will chat to us. So let's welcome Oscar Mabuyane, who is the Premier of the Eastern Cape first. Premier, thank you for making time. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Clement. Thanks to you, and good morning to your listeners. Thank you so much.
What is the extent of the flood damage in the province, and particularly in Mthatha?
It's horrific. It's horrific, Clement. Things that I've seen there yesterday is terrible. We still hard at work with our rescue teams. We've got about 5 rescue teams on the ground. The subs teams, also the health rescue teams that are working from an aerial point of view. Also, we've got aquatic team and those that are terrestrial. So it's not an easy situation. At least now, water has subsided. It's easy to move across. It's a question of working on a mud situation. It's so bad. It's something that we've never seen. We've never experienced. I've heard in the Bible about something called Nogumbe. I suspect it was Nogumbe that visited our people there. And unfortunately, it happened in the very difficult hours, very early hours of the morning on that day. Kind of people caught off guard. Yes, there were warnings from South African weather services, but no one would have actually imagined or anticipate what has happened there. Yes, we are a disaster-prone province. We've seen the issues, challenges of global warming and climate change, and we never ever thought we can experience such levels of floods during winter. We're always preparing ourselves in winter for snow this side, but with that kind of rain that actually fell on that part, it's something that indeed it makes all of us to understand that the global warming is inevitable. It is here.
Yeah. How many people have died so far? The last I checked, that number was at 49. And are there still others that are still missing? Do we know the number of those missing, if they are?
Because of the magnitude of what has happened there, yes, you are right. As of yesterday, we were counting up to 49, and I'm happy also to announce that we have also concluded the autopsies or the postmortems of those 49 bodies. Our health team has been working late yesterday and started the early hours of this morning at 4. They've concluded now. Families are there for viewing, and we also arranged the psychosocial support services, the post-viewing counseling. Our teams are there to make sure that we're taking care of families. So once again, we would want to take the opportunity to convey our heartfelt condolences to all the families, schools, and kids that surely are also attending, are also getting the counseling services as well with this kind of a traumatic situation of their colleagues, if I may put it like that. So when we are expecting more, as the rescue teams are actually unraveling some bodies. At least for now, we can still account for 49. There are also other homes that have collapsed, so we need to remove those rubbles in order to see what's going on underneath those rubbles. So far, we are just rolling up our sleeves, all hands on the deck, to assist all what we can, but also communities have been all out and supporting. They are able also to identify each other. Is there any person missing? So we are also working with that kind of an intelligence. We're deploying all our services, the artificial intelligence, drones, and everybody that any kind of intervention we can have. They are all on the ground now to assist, also to be able to consolidate a report for assessment, to understand how many homes that have been damaged, so that as we package sort of intervention as government, we are able to be more agile and we don't rely on the manual. The area is a bit stretchy, it's a bit longer, where the stream was moving, so it's not an easy situation of walking distance that you can walk across and do ABCD easily. So we are basically getting everything that we have and support that we are so receiving. It's quite amazing as well.
Okay, so how do we get ready for something similar like this, where we get these devastating floods? Premier, you've indicated that this is a disaster-prone province, but when you look at the resources that are required, it looks like there's a critical shortage of those resources, and that can compromise then the emergency response capabilities. Has the province always had capacitated emergency response?
Not really. We do have systems in place and capacity to a certain extent, but as of yesterday, or a day before yesterday, I've realized as a premier that the sort of silo mentality that the government to people like it doesn't help. I think we are one government, we're a unitary government. We might be having national, provincial, and local, but we're one government. We should start internalizing that we must build a system and institutionalize them. We don't build system around individuals, because when those individuals are not there, systems collapse. So we've got to institutionalize system, but also we have got to appreciate nationally that Eastern Cape and KZN are really a threat, are really disaster-prone provinces. And now it's no longer a question of summer or so, including the Western Cape. Almost all the coastal provinces are really disaster-prone provinces are exposed to this. The capacity government needs to prepare itself to the T, because it's clear now that we must anticipate this and also have a robust kind of social facilitation or awareness programs for our people. When people are watching news on TV, they must know that you don't just watch news and when it's going to be a turn of the weather services, you stand up and do something else, because no one has ever bothered about looking at that much on weather, especially here in our areas. So it's important now that we run a proper campaign to sensitize our people, but also the challenge of our people who sometimes, in rural areas, you get a plot simply because you have gone to a traditional leader and no proper rezoning is done. Environmental assessment is done, etc. When the municipality comes to say, but no, you are building or constructing below a flat line, you can't do this. And someone says, I've been here for more than 50 years or 60, I've never seen what you're talking about. So it's that kind of attitude that needed to be changed, so that our people are able to realize that we are living in a total different world, in a total different planet Earth. Things are changing and they are quite dangerous to our people. It's not a question of refusing the access to land parcel. It's a question of being cautious to protect the lives of people, so that experiences like these are not experienced again. But I think it's a learning curve. We're learning on all these challenges as we go. But it's important that we improve. We've got a solid integrated plan, which has got nothing to do about municipality. It's not a blame game issue now. Whether it's municipality, this or that, it's us as government, and as government, we should be having a clear, solid, integrated plan to actually prevent the disastrous effects of this. We will not continue having or experiencing this kind of repercussions out of disasters if we are able to be quite much more proactive.
Yeah, and just lastly, what about the state of infrastructure? I mean, could the state of infrastructure also be the reason for the extent of this devastation? Because we are going to experience more extreme weather events to come, and the rebuilding process, the rebuilding of that infrastructure needs to be resilient to such climate risks. So future constructions must have extreme weather events in mind. What's your plan around that?
As I say that we need to do more in terms of sensitizing, especially the people in peri-urban and in rural areas. Remember, it's only in the urban areas where everything is regulated. Even how you build a house, you must get an approval from the municipality. What material are you using? Is the environmental situation allowing that you can do something like that? In rural areas, you just get a piece of land from a traditional leader, you build your house the way that you want. So I mean things like those. The infrastructure issue, it will forever be a challenge in the rural environment. Yes, we are working hard on that. That's why we have got a problem of the road maintenance, because with this problem of climate change, with all this inclement weather that we are actually witnessing, you build a road, rural access road this year early. By December, when the rainfall season comes with floods, the whole road that you built is wiped out. That's a question of us now working on alternative technologies. What kind of material must we be using in order to construct an access road, bridges, etc.? The bridge that has been wiped out with kids, it is on R51. It's a national road. It's a road that is now under Sanral. It's a road that is being worked from Beaufort West up into Bizana, a solid infrastructure that is being worked on. Yes, in that particular stretch, Clement, it's also very much unfortunate. We have been sitting with designs and plans over the last 10 years. The road that connects from Tata Airport to Tata City, that road should have been dualed now. That is almost 4 lanes. Going the direction, 2 lanes, the other direction, 2 lanes. But we can't move because people in that area, they were never properly settled there as a human settlement arrangement. They settled themselves. They've built closer to the road, on top of the road. So Sanral can't move, even with those plans. They've been having budget to deal with that issue. So these are issues that we've got to strengthen our bylaws as municipalities. At least the no becomes no. I know when municipalities are acting against residents and people react as if government has got no sympathy, has got no the heartless government and all that. Sometimes we must act firmly to protect things like this.
Premier Oscar Mabuyane, thank you so much for making time. He is the Premier of the Eastern Cape province, talking to us about this devastation that's befallen that province. 49 people, as you heard from him. They're expecting more people to be found. There are some that are still missing. But I really want us to also focus our attention on the issue of infrastructure. And maybe you've got some ideas. Maybe you are from the Eastern Cape, or you have been to the Eastern Cape and you've seen the kind of infrastructure there. I mean, I remember even with the floods in KwaZulu-Natal. Remember the floods in KZN when we lost about, 435 or so people? There were over 6,000 people that became homeless. They were displaced. There were 54 missing at the time. The cost to rebuild that infrastructure ran into billions. And the conversation that we had on the show, even with experts, was how do we get our infrastructure to be fit to withstand disasters like this? Because when you look at bridges, when you look at some of the roads, some of the drainage systems, and it's more devastating in rural areas. Can you imagine how worse it probably is in a province like the Eastern Cape?